Europe starts here. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how I started my then still live welcome speech to the very first edition of Workplace Europe last year. Not knowing that a few months later I could have almost replaced this with Europe stops here. Because who would have expected that our primary response to the virus, which is itself respected no borders, would be to retreat behind those borders? How we, province, city and university, would have preferred things to be different. We who regard ourselves as guardians of the Maastricht Treaty, who in this city, in this house of the province of Limburg, signed the birth certificate of a more united Europe. I'm standing in front of this treaty. But Europe didn't seem to unite now. This was not the Europe we were so keen to cultivate here. The Europe in which people stand together to be stronger. Just as we, as the inhabitants of this Euro region, were quite astonished about that message telling us to stay in our own country, about those fences, concrete blocks and containers that appeared between us, and about getting cut off from family and friends on the other side of the border. This is not how we want to experience Euro citizenship here. The Euro citizenship that same treaty gave us more than a quarter of a century ago. I think you can all identify, as I did, with the words of Angela Merkel, when she said earlier this year, and I quote, "Europe is no longer Europe if we are not there for each other." Fortunately, that intention to be there for each other never disappeared here. And nobody wants to close those borders in a second time either. In that respect too, we may hope that coronavirus has taught us a good lesson. A lesson, a hard lesson, that will certainly play a role in this second edition of Workplace Europe. A second edition focusing on ways that we, as Euro citizens, can actively contribute to that better Europe. A Europe that's better at closing ranks than at closing borders. So let me close this welcome speech by saying, Europe continues here. With your help, a Europe that is better, stronger and more resilient. I wish you all lots of success and inspiration.